Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for coming today. Are there any trends within the black community, such as higher crime rates or higher illegitimacy rates that could explain their position vis-a-vis whites? And can those be explained by some dominant social group?
No.
No to the first one, or the
No
second one?
No to both.
So there's no.
I mean, there's a propagandistic mechanism that's afloat about, black illegitimacy and black criminality. I guess it depends on what kind of crime you have in mind. If we think about which community in the United States has the highest degree of history of violence, that's unquestionably white Americans. Unquestionably. I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware of the 100 massacres that were conducted between the end of the Civil War and World War II that were directed against black communities throughout the United States, in which thousands of blacks were killed and the white terrorists appropriated black-owned property. So there's no segment of the population that has a greater history of violence than white Americans. So when you talk about these kinds of matters to me, you're actually mouthing a set of propagandistic claims that are made on the right in the United States, and they do not have a foundation in fact.
All right, so.
Sorry, we need to move on with the last two questions.
People mess up a 400-year head start. How did this happen? How is it that a nation of people, a race of people, held people of color by the collar while they allowed their people to get a 400-year head start? You sabotaged anything we could have done. We couldn't read, we couldn't write, we couldn't unify in any way, we couldn't congregate in any way. We weren't even considered human. See, this is why I am so proud to be black. I'm so proud to be a person of color, because we have the best story ever told. Regardless of what criticisms I've given my people, regardless of what critiques, regardless of what I've said about my people, I still view us as the greatest. And by us, I mean people of color. Don't you know who you are? These people held you by the collar, held you in place so you couldn't move, learn, do nothing by yourself. Also, they can stay ahead of you. Do you understand what that means? That means that they know how powerful you all are. They know how powerful a black woman is. They know how powerful a black man is. Because if they didn't, guess what? They would have pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps and built America on their own instead of going and kidnapping slaves. Oh, wait, white man, I know what you about to say. Oh, but black people weren't the only slaves. No, we weren't. But we were the only ones who've had our identity completely stripped from us. We are the only ones who have been completely separated and don't even know the origins of African Americans. Oh, but Africa sold you guys into slavery. No. The very few chiefs, kings that did that cooperated, were considered outcasts, alienated, were considered traitors well before that transaction even happened. And plus, it's kind of hard to deny a transaction when we ain't got nothing but bows and arrows and y'all showing up on ships with rifles, making offers that we literally cannot refuse. Let's not forget how America plays. Let's not forget how America presents you with an offer, but the offer is really rhetorical. It's really a trick question. Throughout all the trial and tribulation, throughout all the horrific acts done by you, we are still here. So I ask again, how did you fumble a 400-year head start? How did you fumble a point in time where you were trying to completely eradicate people of color and you couldn't do it? That's why I be so mad at my people. That's why I be so disappointed in my people. That's why I be on y'all the way I be on y'all. Because these mothers know who you are. These must know how powerful you are. These must know your potential. They just convinced you that your potential is low. They convinced you that you're a nobody. They convinced you that you are nothing and you are lesser than them. When if that was true, they would have built America on their own. They wouldn't have had to go and get them slaves. They wouldn't have had to deal with Africa at all. They wouldn't have had to take out loans from that same tyrannical place that they say they fled from. They wouldn't have had to create alliances with France. They wouldn't have had to use Christianity to start the slave trade if they were so great. How did y'all white folks mess up a 400-year head start? It's the same thing. Every 4 years, they blaming every issue in America on people of color, on immigrants, when you're an immigrant, on Joe Biden, on Kamala Harris, on Barack Obama. They blame it on everybody except the mother that created the system that we in. White people now are like, oh, woe is me, the country's going to shit. Oh my God, the immigrants. Oh my God, we're gonna lose this. Oh my God, the tyrannical government. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? The America's going to shit. No, America's been shit. You just now finding out. You late to the party. Why did you not listen to people of color when we told you all of this back then? See, when it was beneficial to be white, you ignored all of us. But now that your privilege is virtually gone, dead, because the same system, the same government, the same media that you put in place has gotten greedy and now sees you, white man, as a target too. Yes, you have privilege, or at least you had it. And this is usually where they start whining, oh, what privilege do I have today? The 400-year head start that your ancestors gave you, that's a privilege. The fact that y'all were allowed to run full sprint as far as you can run while everybody else was held in place trying to run. Can't get nowhere because they are held by their collar, by your ancestors. How did y'all fumble a 400-year head start? God, I love being black. I love being a person of color because do you understand the level of failure that is? Every 4 years, this damn country's on the verge of collapse. Every 4 years, it's the same policies being presented. Every 4 years, it's the same promises broken. And guess what you all do? Still participate in this system. But when shit go bad, hey, we need to change this. They're not going to change nothing. You know why? Because your vote is free. You don't demand nothing for your vote. You don't demand nothing for the dollar. You don't demand nothing for nothing. So why would they respect you? Why would they help you? Why would they rebuild America in the image it's supposed to be in when you're paying for corruption? Why would the devil change the devil's ways if you keep playing the same game that the devil likes to play? Here go the whites. It's Kamala Harris, it's Joe Biden, it's Barack Obama. No. It's America.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're doing fine where you are, and if you ain't doing fine, please do fine where you are. You see, they say that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, right? It is true if you come to think of it, you see? And two wrongs never make a right. If someone wrongs you and you want to repay them by doing wrong, there is no good that comes out of it. Actually, what comes out is just more bloodshed. The innocent suffer more, and it's always not so good in this situation, right? And so right now, I'm saying this with regards to what Jane Elliott said. Jane Elliott posed a question. Those who don't know who Jane Elliott is, she's a black activist. She's a black activist who is white. Or rather, she's a white woman who is an activist for the lives of black people, right? So it is okay if I still call her a black activist. what she said was that she was asking her students, raise your hands if you'd want to be treated the same way black people are treated here in the United States of America. And guess what? None of our students raised their hands. None of them raised their hands, and none was willing to speak, and none was willing to say why. But deep inside, it is a consciousness that people have kept silent with, right? A consciousness that we are silent with, and we don't want to speak it because sometimes the truth really hurts. The truth is very uncomfortable. But remember one thing: if you create room for uncomfortable conversation like racism, colonialism, reparations, you are creating more room for comfortable situations. The uncomfortable talks create room for the comfortable talks, right? That's how it goes. That's why if there is something which the government is doing wrong, people go to the streets. Unfortunately, some of these people die for there to be reforms, right? And so I'm here looking back at what she said, and none of those students raised their hands to say why or why not, right? They knew instinctively, they knew what they were doing to black people was inherently wrong, right? But they still did the wrong things. They still did those wrong things. It didn't matter to them, right? And so, someone can argue that white people are racist. Someone can argue that. And someone else can come and argue, not all white people are racist, right? And the reason why we say white people are racist, or the reason why they say white people are racist, is because the people who were controlling these people who are blacks were whites. It wasn't black people, it was whites. If it were black people, we would say black people are racist, right? So not all blacks are racist, not all whites are racist. That's the point. And this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not here to push any evil agenda. This video is for educational purposes only. So there's a black American man who has come forward, and he's explaining with, I think, an open mindset and with a very different point of view. I want us to listen to him upon this idea of doing wrong because wrong was done to you, or doing right because wrong was done to you. Which one is right to be done? Which one is the right course of action? Let's listen to the gentleman. I shall get back by the end of the video with a deep, critical analysis. Let's dive in.
When an individual unalives or causes harm to law enforcement, this is just another what the white supremacist wants is the perfect, agreeable, consumerist slave. You are allowed to work the jobs and get the pennies that we want you to have. You are allowed to spend those pennies on things that we want you to buy. You are allowed to entertain, but do not make any inconvenience for the supremacist. Do not complain about the conditions in which we choose to oppress you. Do not complain about the conditions in which we choose to unalive you. We're supposed to just take it. Why is that? If all whites aren't racist, your actions say otherwise. Because it's funny how you all know, because you couldn't possibly be that slow, you all know what's going on, what has been going on, what has taken place, and what is taking place. You all know, because none of you want to be treated like us in this country. None of you want our experience in this country.
I want every white person in this room who would be happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
Yet you will come into our spaces and you will say things like, we all aren't like that. That's some, not all. We all aren't like that. But yet you do nothing about the problematic ones. Yet you wonder why we close the door and lock it to all of you.
Let's say here's 10,000 rattlesnakes coming to bite me. And in those 10,000, there was 1,000 that didn't mean no harm. And I knew there was a good 1,000 snakes out there, but they all look alike. Now, what should I do? Should I keep the door open and let the 10,000 in, hoping that the 1,000 will unite and save me and one bite will kill me? Or should I just be safe and shut the door? So we have white people say, I mean right. I have a black husband. Oh, my children are black. I love everybody. I really believe you. But I'm sorry, man, there's 10 more thousand behind you that don't feel that way. I'm just sorry, but what am I going to do?
Why are we expected to tolerate this treatment when if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have an America? Last time I checked, you had to go kidnap some folks. And by the way, y'all only tell half the story because I've said this before. The people that y'all say you bought slaves from in Africa were already considered traitors by the entire continent of Africa. Were already exiled by the entire continent of Africa. These people were not friends of the continent, much like the sellout today in America, much like the bootlicker today in America, much like the Uncle Ruckuses today in America. You may know them as the house Negro, the ones that you're trying to condition us all to be like. Those exist globally and all throughout time, all throughout history. And this is how you were able to get that transaction of purchasing slaves while also kidnapping slaves, while also forcing this transaction, because let's be realistic and honest here. It's kind of hard to deny a transaction, even if they wanted to, when you got rifles on them and they ain't got nothing but bows and arrows. You making false, deceiving promises of equality and wealth, but we know how that turned out. There is no more time. The time for unification is now. The time to understand a black woman is now. The time to understand a black man is now. The time to put your goddamn traumatic experiences aside is now. The time to get some healing, the time to get therapy, the time to do whatever it is you need to do to be able to be a part of the solution and not continuously glorify being a part of the damn problem is now. Simply be kind to each other. Simply seek to show empathy and understand and show comprehension rather than listening to speak, rather than being in competition, trying to debate on everything and anything. Y'all, at this point, y'all might as well debate whether air.
Now, guys, after carefully listening and analyzing the brother's video and what the other black people have to say, is this: we can't deny the existence of white supremacy. We can't deny that because it does exist. Unfortunately, we have some black people who truly, and I don't know, blindly or what, are against black people. And if you tell them that there is a concept such as white supremacy, they refuse. And actually, they mock black people in trying to defend themselves. You see, black people defending themselves is not attacking other people. You might defend your mental health, right? Your physical status. You may want to protect that. You may want to protect your family. Protecting your family does not mean that you harm others. And as an example of black people who are always not in support of other black people, I think it's the man by the name Jesse Rogers. I like some of the policies he makes. Not really policies, but the arguments he makes. What I really don't get along with is how he tries to deny the existence of white supremacy, right? The video is not about Jesse, but it's about how white supremacy is affecting us as black people. realize one thing. We need to realize one thing as the entire black community, right? The moment we share our struggles and we acknowledge our struggles, the moment we come together, pull up our resources and try and bridge a gap between the haves and the have-nots, that is always an interesting beginning, right? It is an interesting beginning because some of these racist things that happen is because we don't have more people in the higher up positions. And as maybe some of the ones we have in the higher up positions are people who are puppets, right? These are puppets, people who are really not there to work for the blacks or rather to serve the black people, but to serve their puppet master. A good example is that man who threatened Ibrahim Traore, the man by the name Michael Langley, right? You saw the entire black community was not happy about him. Black people are not happy about him. It shows unity in Africa to support Ibrahim Traore. And that's just a single individual who has come up front and shown that he can be a good leader and he can push the progress of black people forward. And so nobody can easily come and attack us, right? And so I believe that when we have more people, after listening to this gentleman, when we come forward, we have people in the hospital sectors, we have people in the education sector, we have people in the finance sector. Think of those important sectors of the society or of a country, and we have black prominent people over there. We won't have many problems, I'm telling you. Even those people who call themselves the white supremacists will be having some problems, right? They'll be having some problems dealing badly with us. Instead, equality will kick in, and we will start seeing equal opportunities being granted to black people. We will start seeing more black babies, because even in the hospital sector, I'm told, and I've seen videos actually, that black babies were being unalived by white nuns, by white nurses, right? Imagine you unaliving a baby because you believe that they don't have the right to exist. Just imagine that. You are unaliving him or her or it. A baby is a him or her, not it. Because you know the parents will take you nowhere. I can't believe, even if you told me, that a black person would be doing such things and go away with it without being sentenced or without facing the right judgment. They will face the judgment, right? But these people walk scot-free. They walk free like they did nothing wrong. Like it's nothing, we've done nothing, and they just killed babies. Black people are not having equal education in the United States of America. It's like someone is trying to kick you out. They themselves are the visitors, but they try as hard as they can to kick you out of the system, out of the country, and they themselves are settlers, right? It is not right. It is really not right. The brother has spoken many truths, and I believe this truth is relatable to so many of us. That is my take. That is what I have to say about what he said. I would also want to hear from you. You as an individual, share your thoughts. Yes. And remember to subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers, right? Let's get to 200,000 subscribers. And remember to subscribe. Support me on Patreon if you may. It really helps me bring you more powerful and interesting videos.